hell hath indeed frozen over, because here I am today presenting you with a gear video. Seriously, I've been using my fretless bass a lot over the last year and a half, and I wanted to upgrade some parts on it. So meet the Franken bass. This is my fretless. Maybe you've seen it. I featured it in a recent video. I've been playing it for almost 30 years. I'm the only owner of the bass. It's a Warmoth parts bass with great assistance from a wonderful bass player here in town named John Hall. I put this bass together many years ago, and in 1995, after reading Bill Milkowski's Jaco Pastorius biography, I ripped out the frets myself. I also went to a boat store and got some epoxy resin and tried to do my best to replicate what Jaco had done with his instrument. Ever since then, I've had other basses that have come and go, but this has been my fretless. There are times that I hardly touch it, there are times that I'm immersed in it, but it's a wonderful instrument. I thought I'd change a couple things and document some things here for my channel. First of all, I hate the gold hardware. When I was 19, 20 years old, it seemed like a really cool thing to have. Now, I totally regret it. It tarnishes like crazy. I don't like the look of it anymore. What do you think of gold hardware? I don't want to know. Don't tell me in the comments. I hate gold hardware. So I thought I would swap it out because the bass has black pickups and black controls. I thought it would look good with black hardware. So today I'm going to change out the bridge, the strap buttons, the back plate, also the tuning pegs, which I'm going to be using Hipshot Ultralites, Ultralite LICs, which are different from the Hipshot USAs, which I know there might be some modification involved, which is another reason I wanted to do the video. I couldn't find another video like this online. So I'm going to walk you through the mod that I probably have to do on those tuners. So my lovely fretless is going to go through a makeover. Let's do it. So my goal with this was to make it as easy as possible. I knew I had a Shaler roller type bridge that was 3 screws. So my upgrades, I want to keep as simple as possible. I'm looking for no drilling, but I'm gonna have to drill for the headstock. I wanted a 3-hole Shaler roller bridge. Now this one comes with another plate because they're doing high mass now. Like most hardware makers, they're doing these bigger, heavier bridges. So this one has another plate on it, but I'm not going to use the plate because I want it to line up pretty much exactly with the way that the old bridge is. So I'm just going to do, I'm going to sans the high mass bridge plate accessory and do just the bridge so I can get my setup as close as possible to what I had, but 3 screws. Hopefully, I can't mess that up. Okay, here's an area of contention. It's something I've never liked about this bass. The truss rod is not accessible at the headstock like normal instruments. It's accessible down on this end of the neck like old Fenders. Anytime I've had to make a neck adjustment, a truss rod adjustment, I have to take off the neck. So this is like not in good shape right now. There, if you could see close enough, there's some scoring that's happening right here where the finish is peeled off. Also here, there's a little chunk from me taking the neck on and off. Eventually, I'm gonna have a route put in like I did on my Geddy Lee, my Fender. Anytime I need to make a truss rod adjustment, I don't have to deal with the headache of taking off the whole neck. So this has seen some wear and tear. One of these I'm pretty sure is stripped, so I'm gonna do a little trick to unstrip it when I put the new hardware on. But I am definitely gonna have this routed at some point. Now, to Warmoth's credit, they now sell their base bodies with that route because their fingerboard hangs over, so you don't have to take the neck off. And it's a great instrument. It's always been a drag when the weather's change, when the seasons change, and I know I have to make a little tweak. So let's do it. So here's some absolute internet message board secrets to tech that I learned that works well. This screw is absolutely stripped. I could literally go up and down this hole. It's not really grabbing. So I'm gonna take a couple toothpicks and I'm gonna break them. Well, let's try one for now. Not a tech guy. I'm gonna take a toothpick and break it and put it down in there. Couple of little pieces of toothpick. This will give something for the screw to grab onto when I put it in, and it should hold a little better. It shouldn't be stripped. Let's try it. Yeah, that's much better than before. It's holding. Yeah, that feels like a screw again. It'd been stripped like that probably for 10, 15 years. The things you read on the internet. There are two types of Hipshot Ultralite tuners. One is the Hipshot USA, made in America. That one is a bit more expensive. The other is the Hipshot LIC, which is a licensed version made overseas. I was reading online. The problem is with some of the measurements of the holes. Fender states that these holes, these are cut to Fender specs, and Hipshot makes a 1/2 inch and a 3/8 inch. The 1/2 inch is supposed to be able to fit the specs of a Fender hole, an 11/16 Fender hole. Now with this ferrule goes in on this side. The tuning peg goes in on the other side like this. This hole is a little big. There's a little bit of wiggle room there. It's not snug. So I'm going to use a hack that I read on Talkbase, which is essentially to take some painter's tape just to get less movement in there. I mean, it's really not moving much, to be honest. But I'm going to use a little bit of painter's tape to see if it gets a little bit more snug in there with the fit. And it does. Just a little. Not much. Like I said, it's not moving a lot to begin with. Make sure you push it towards the bridge when you measure, because the strings will pull that way. I think it's going to be fine. So I'm going to give everybody a layer of painter's tape and start drilling. Little double check here with my dots that I've measured from the edge. They all come in at 1 inch. I made sure everything looks straight, but also they all line up right down the middle. All those dots should bisect right down the middle. So that looks good. Let me just say it's a miracle that this bass still works, but I somehow did it. I replaced the bridge, the strap pins, the rear plate, string retainer, and the tuning pegs. First observation, black is beautiful. When I got all the strings on and I tuned it up acoustically, the E was ringing like it never had before. I don't know if the old hardware was kind of weighing it down, but the E is way more resonant acoustically. Acoustically it feels great. There's still a little bit of neck dive, but it's not as noticeable. It was seriously a problem before, and it's totally comfortable to play now. It is definitely lighter and more resonant acoustically, and everything sounded great. I just have to use my old bridge kind of as a template, since it's the same kind, for my spacing, where my spacing was and is, and string height, saddle height, which, you know, that takes a little tweaking. I'm gonna let the instrument settle in. There's holes on the back I could care less about. Nobody's really gonna see them. Maybe at some point I wanna fill them in or do something. Maybe that'll be another video, but I'm very proud of myself for having changed the hardware on this instrument. It feels so much better. She still plays wonderful, and I'm looking forward to making more gigs on her and having it not be a drag as far as the balance of the instrument, because she needs to be played and heard. So that was fun, and I hope I don't ever have to do it again. Your local guitar tech. Get to know them. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, I appreciate a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber and you like all jazz, bass-centric content, all original, as fast as I can make it, by all means, hit the subscribe button. Don't miss my next video. Until next time, take care of yourself, and please, love your neighbor.